Family, here behind me you see a place that is unique because it's related to the war that happened some years ago. It becomes one of the nightmares of humanity, especially here in South Korea. So let us go inside. Let us find out why was there an abduction? Which people, how many people were abducted? And what was the ending? Let's go in and find out. Come with me. Families, like we promised, it's going to be sharing only the best and the information right from the sources with you. So this is a center where some people were abducted during the Korean War, and we are privileged here to have a tour guide who is going to guide us throughout the whole process. Let's welcome. Hi, Mom.
How I have to greet you and welcome to the National Memorial for Abducted.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And as you say that, if you look back the Korean history, the Korean War started in 1950. That's very long time back, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's finished in 1953. And during 3 years, we have victims. And then among them, there are the abductees who were abducted by the North Korea. So, did you know that we have 100,000 people? They were just not a special guest, special people. They were just normal people as like us. Then 100,000 people were abducted only during the 3 years. We are talking about their story, and for sure, in South Korea, we have a family of them, right? So that we are talking about that, and it's established by the Ministry of Unification. It's one of the Korean government department. So we start from the second floor where you are in now.
Okay, wow. I think it's so interesting. We've heard a lot about Korean War, but today we will have the privilege to know much more. And then I'll have some very mind-boggling questions to ask you. So please, yeah. In the first place, why did the war start? Because we knew that it was one country. What happened? Why was there war?
Actually, we can look back the history, what happened just before the Korean War. As you say, that the Korean Peninsula was the one country we call as Korea, right? Yeah. And before the Korean War, we had the Japanese colonial era seasons. Yeah. So during that time, as you know, that we suffered a lot. Exactly. And then just after the Japanese colonial era, as you know, that if you are looking the global tensions, there's a lot of situation like the wars, exactly. And also
during the Dark Age, right? A lot of bad things happened to humanity.
Yes, and it's happened to the Korea as well. So that along the 38 parallel. On the north side, there's the communist system was ongoing, and on the south side, the other one, as you know that. So that we are separated, and in 1948, and after 2 years, the North Korea they attacked South Korea, so that the war started, because anyhow the Korean Peninsula was the one country, right? So both of us we thought we have to be together as they wish. The North Korea, they have their own way, based on the communism system, and the South Korea was the other part.
Okay, but before the separation, right? I think, or even before the Japanese came in the first place, what kind of rulership or what kind of system was there? Was it democracy or communism?
It was very difficult to say in one word because before that, not only Korea but also the other country as well. It's not clear as like the new generation, as like this generation, right? So that, and also before the Japanese colonial era, we have a king and queen. It means a king's generation, not as like the president in nowadays, as like Yes, so that. Yeah.
Okay, so I understand. Okay, so please take us around.
All right. So we started from the scenes over here. So you can find the tornado here, and every picture is donated by the families of the abductees.
Victims.
So if you follow the symbol of tornadoes, we will lead you to the place where they were disappeared. So let's go inside.
Okay. All right. So we are following the whirlwind, okay?
So let me ask you, what about your country, the Ghana? Are you from the world generation or not?
Yeah, Ghana never experienced war. Yeah, so we do not understand what it means. Yes, but we are different, like maybe a country, but different languages, different dresses, different foods. You know, almost everything is different based on the location you are from. Yeah. So that's why we really have a lot of questions.
Yes. Why I'm asking is that, as like you, even me, and a long times back we had a war, but for me, I'm not from the war generation, so it was very difficult to understand the sadness of the families of the abductees and the other victims as well. But as soon as when I see the family pictures in front of you, I understood what happened for them.
Exactly, because we can really, resonate, right? Some of the stories we heard while we were younger, even now, what we see on the TV, it's really sometimes heartbreaking, right? What people went through with their families, and I really,
Yeah. But for me as well, and I believe for you now, from now on, for you as well, you feel different with the other people because the family of the abductees, they had their union because they have to get them back from the North Korea, right? So that they have a union, and then they worked with the Ministry of Unification. So that once a time, the family of the abductees, which means the member of the union, they came here once a month because their office also has in this building. Trying to stand in here is that. Let's back to my first day in here. I joined here in 2023.
okay.
It was one day of the December. And as you know that if you go to the work in the first day, you greet with the people, with the team member, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it started since 9 o'clock. And then after 9:30, I came back to here.
Wow.
And I feel, how do I say that?
Sad?
Scared because I have to memorize all of this one to explain for all of you, and I'm not good at studying at all.
You're very good. You're very
Yeah,
good.
thank you for understanding. So I was very nervous and I was very scared. But at the time, it's about 10:30, something like that. I just stood in here a long time, so about 30 minutes, because it was very difficult. And one of the grandfather, have you ever saw the character from character of KFC?
Yes.
Yeah, with the nice suit, with the head as well.
And then beard, right?
Yes. And then he was as like him, the characters of the KFC. The very, very old grandfather, he called me, "Hey, you are the member of you are the new member, and welcome to the museum." So I just ask him back, "Who are you?" Because I feel
A little nervous.
yeah, nervous because I don't know him. So who are you? And he said that it's me.
Really?
Yes. So he started to talk about his family pictures, and the white man, as you can guess, he is the abductees, and at the same time, he is the father of him. And he has a mom and an older brother as well, but as you can guess, they are passed away. So he is the only one who survived from this family picture.
Wow.
And he's waiting for his father till now. And can you guess he is 86 years old now.
Oh my God.
So this KFC grandfather, he worked as a family members union for the abducted. So it means he have his friends as well, who's raiding his fathers.
I feel so sad.
Yeah. So before when I saw this family picture, I also feel borrowing something like that because as I told you, I'm not from the our generation. So it's just starting for me. It was, but after when I met him, I felt something inside my heart. So I can guess some things in your heart as well.
Exactly. Trust me.
So if you go ahead, we will find his father inside.
Okay. Wow.
That's the point that what you wondered before. Actually, in 1945, we finally independent from the Japanese colonial era. And then, as you wondered, in 1948, we are divorced along the 38 parallel. In the south side, the South Korea, the Republic of Korea was established. So then you are in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the north side, the North Korean government was established. And after 2 years, Korean War started. Now I understand why you are asking me, because this one is for sure for the Korean only, right? So as you can see from the historical record in here, because of this background, Korean War started, and finally, not finally, right? The abductions were happened by the North Korea. So do you think abductions were planned or not?
Of course. It is planned.
Or it happened suddenly?
No. It is planned. I think so. Abduction is planned. Yes.
For sure. Then we found some document how they made a plan. We can guess that it's made in between the 1948 to 1950. But at the very first time, when they just made the plan, they tried to take the North Korean people who live in South Korea. Between 1948 to 1950, many of the North Korean peoples tried to run away to South Korea because, as you know, that they had a communism system, and also at that time, the government take all the belongs from the people and then they shared equally. So they feel very bad, right?
Exactly.
Just guess like you earn $100,
Exactly.
but the government they take all the money from you, and every each month they share it, and then the North Korean people they earned $100, but after sharing, they can just earn
5 cents.
5 cents, something
Exactly.
like that. So, but at the time, the rumor were around. The South Korea, they are not sharing the money at all. If you are on $10, it's your money.
Only for you. Exactly. You know that some people can be lazy and still enjoy.
People are run away from the North Korea to South Korea, and that was happened from the 1948 to 1950. So then North Korea government tried to make the plan, as you can see from the document. So at the beginning of their plans, North Korea people they tried to take the North Koreans only who live in South Korea, but it works very well. So that they added the plan to take the South Koreans as well. After when they make the plan, and the Korean War started, they have a very big papers as like this one, right? So that as soon as when the war started, they start to act.
I see. Wow.
So at the beginning of the Korean War, 20% of the people were abducted by the North Korea.
That's a huge number.
And then it's just for the beginning of the Korean War. So this kind of people were abducted, and actually they are very famous for the Korean people, but I don't think for you. But let me introduce about what kind of the people are in here.
Please do, because we really want to know.
And the very beginning of the Korean War, the elite group who is very intelligent, they were targeted for the abduction.
Exactly.
Because as I told you before, they made a plan, right? Before they abducted. So just why don't you guess when you make the plan before the test during your school days? We make very well made plan, right?
Exactly.
Before we start studying. But after starting the study, no, it's not working really.
Exactly.
So that
you have to change your strategy.
so that this one is the same as like that. But among them, let me introduce Mr. Lee on your right side. He worked as a journalist, and he wrote this article.
Wow.
So have you ever saw him? No, not really, right?
No, please, yes.
Yes, actually, this is one of the article from the newspaper the published in Korea in 1936.
Wow.
He was the first marathoner from Korea,
Wow.
and also at the same time he was the first gold medalist from the Olympic. And then Mr. Lee was the journalist who wrote this article. But as I told you, it happened in 1936. It means that time was the Japanese colonial era.
Right.
So he must wear the Japanese colonial era on his shirt. But can you find it? On his shirt? On the right side.
Yes. Okay, I can see that.
You cannot, right?
Yeah.
Because Mr. Lee removed Japanese flag, national flag. Actually, we have a museum in Seoul about him.
Okay.
If you go there, you can find the original pictures, and in the original picture, there is a Japanese national flag on his shirt. But when he wrote this article, he removed it.
Yes, let us be mindful that patriotism is just the thing.
Yeah.
He did so well. Yeah. Even in the midst of oppression, he still chose to stand for his nation.
But why don't you guess you're under the Japanese colonial era in the case if Mr. Lee did this one?
Of course, there will be a lot of repercussions, right?
They will make the trouble, right? So that after when he probably published this article, he captured by the Japanese police, and he suffered in torture. But anyhow, he survived, and then finally he got independent from the Japanese colonial era in 1945, as we saw that. However, the happiness was very short. After 5 years, the Korean War started, and he is abducted by the North Korea one day in June 1950.
He might have gone through a lot for his nation.
Yeah, but why?
Okay, so that was his
His things.
stamp, right?
Yeah, and his stamp, and then his
Clock?
the watch.
Yeah.
What was it usually in his pocket? And then the families of the abductees were donated in here. And why I introduce Mr. Lee for you is that he is the father of the family picture in the main gate. So it means his second son is now 86 years old now. He's only one and only member who survived till now. And then he's living in South Korea, and he's still waiting his father. It means very sad story, right?
Very sad. I feel
After
sad.
when second son grew up, he also worked as a journalist as like him.
His daddy. Wow.
Yes. And then from now on, we are heading to the middle stage of the Korean War.
Okay.
And then you can meet his friend over there.
Okay, okay. Wow. This is so interesting.
In the middle stage of the Korean War, just normal people as like us were targeted for the abduction. And you will see the witness from the top soon. And what they say that there were no human rights at all. If we are back to in the early stage of the Korean War, as I introduced you, the elite group who is very intelligent in their field, they were targeted for the abduction, right? But when they're abducted, these kind of the people, those Korea were very gentle. But for them, no, there were no human rights, as you can see the scenes over here. The witness say that there are no human rights at all. They are just staying at home, and the North Korean people just come to their house.
Yeah, homes.
And here as well. 네. And then now we are heading to the place where they are gathered together.
Okay.
You are now in the middle stage of the Korean War, and there is a lot of people are gathered, right? And then people, when they are heading to the North Korea, they gathered in the jar located in Seoul. So we call it 서대문 형무소, and actually it's learning for the independent activities during the Japanese colonial era. But after when we independent and then during the Korean War, it was the place for the abductees. People when they are heading to the North Korea, North Korea people, they are abducted to South Korea, and then they are gathered in here, and then they are, going up to the North Korea. So Korean Peninsula say that how far it was. So they started from Seoul, what we saw the jar, that they are heading to the Pyongyang, where is the capital city of the North Korea. Then finally, they went to the Manpo. It's one of the city near China. By work.
By foot.
Yes. They were not just to have nice shoes as like us.
Exactly.
They just to wear the homeware because most Korean people they just abducted when they stayed in the home. So that it must be very hard for me.
Exactly.
For them.
Sure.
And as I told you, it's like the Mr. Lee who were abducted by the North Korea. Guess how many people were abducted? I think
You said
told you,
100, over
you're
100,000.
right. And you can find that number from these books. As soon as the North Korea started to abduct people from the South Korea, the families of the abductees, they start to write about record about the abductees. The Seoul city first started, and they gathered 2,438 people only for Seoul city. Then when Seoul started, all the cities around the Korean Peninsula, they start to make the record, as you say that. And we gathered in the 5 books, and it's recorded 82,959. But if we are combined the people who were not able to report in this book, we can say that there are
more.
100,000 people.
Possibly more, yeah.
And if we are looking back the numbering, what we gathered, and among them, 87% of the men who are in their age of 20 or 30, they were abducted. Very young, right?
Yeah.
And in that generation, they had a family as you can see in front of you. Most of them they have a wife and 2 children in South Korea. They left these people and they are abducted by the North Korea.
I feel so sad.
Yeah, and can you imagine 100 people who had a family as like this? They were targeted and they were abducted, and they are still in North Korea. No one came back. But even me, I live in South Korea and I'm born in here, right? But I didn't know that before when I came here. So it's not famous for the Korean as well, not only for all of you, but also for me as well. So that the Ministry of Unification was established this place to let you know.
Wow.
And aren't you wonder what Korean government and what the families of the abductees doing to take them back from the North Korea? What do you think? What they do?
The diplomat trying to negotiate.
You're right, exactly. And since the first agreement, when the Korean War finished, till now, regularly or irregularly, we had a chance to talk with the North Korea. It means South Korean government and the North Korean government had a chance to talk with each other. Every chance when we had a talk, every time when we had a chance to talk with them, South Korean government and families of the abductees, they are asking to the North Korea, please take them back. But the families of the abductees are still waiting in here.
Yeah.
We don't need anything, we want to take them back
People.
to the families. But North Korea, since the first talk till now, they said that, no, we never did. There was no abduction at all. So that only one way to take them back, the families of the abductees and then Ministry of Unification realized that there is only one way to take them back. The one way is unification.
Exactly, yes.
And they just try to think about what we can do. By means of they mean is the families of the abductees. And they say that we have to remember the people who were abducted by the North Korea, so that when we unificate, we can take them back, right?
Exactly.
So that from the new generation, I mean, is, in this generation, since 2011 to 2015, we try to take the registration from the families of the abductees based on the books what we saw before, and there 5,505 people are registered, and among them 4,777 people are recognized by the Korean government.
Wow. So these are their names, right? This is
You're
the
right.
list.
You're right.
Wow.
So the families who saw this video, if you come to Korea, please visit this place. I will be very happy, and the families of the abductees as well. They were very happy to let you know what happened. And please remember 100,000 people who are still in North Korea.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Family, I really do not know what to say. I feel sad, and then I also remember what was done to our innocent foreparents, our ancestors. I think this is something which was done to humanity, and it is not to repeat. And as much as possible, there should be measures to correct and comfort and restore, restitute those victims and their families. Remember, it's your favorite Miss TV YouTube channel. Please subscribe, share your comments, and anytime you come to South Korea, come and listen for yourself, and you will appreciate. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.